Hello, everyone, and welcome to W.A.T. News. It is June 18th, 2025. Your daily AI-powered roundup of today's most relevant headlines. Faster, smarter, and always on point.
W.A.T. News.
In cybersecurity news, Microsoft has released its monthly security update for June as part of its regular Patch Tuesday cycle. W.A.T. News verified that this release includes fixes for 50 documented vulnerabilities across Microsoft products such as Windows, Office, and the Edge browser. 6 of these vulnerabilities were classified as critical, meaning they could be exploited to execute code remotely or gain elevated privileges. Notably, the update addresses a zero-day vulnerability that was being actively exploited before the patch was issued. Microsoft has urged users and administrators to apply the updates immediately to prevent potential exploitation. The update also includes mitigations for a broader range of memory corruption and elevation of privilege flaws affecting Windows kernel and Hyper-V. Patch Tuesday occurs routinely on the second Tuesday of each month to standardize cybersecurity maintenance across enterprise environments. W.A.T. News reviewed the technical guide published by Rhino Security Labs for CloudGoat, a purpose-built AWS vulnerability simulator. The latest walkthrough focuses on the glue priv-esque scenario, which demonstrates how a low-privileged AWS user can exploit AWS glue to escalate privileges. The scenario guides security professionals through enumeration, misconfiguration analysis, and abuse of IAM roles associated with glue development endpoints. W.A.T. News verified that this simulation is not an active vulnerability in AWS, but an educational exercise using intentionally misconfigured cloud resources. Rhino Security Labs released the guide to help defenders understand privilege escalation pathways and harden infrastructure. CloudGoat remains a widely used learning tool in cloud penetration testing training programs. Organizations are encouraged to review their glue role assignments and enforce least privilege practices to mitigate real-world risks. W.A.T. News verified that Swiss cybersecurity researchers and SCRT have discovered a method to exploit the ksec-ddd sys kernel driver in Windows systems via server silos, a feature intended to isolate user sessions. The documented vulnerability allows a local attacker to escalate privileges by manipulating how the system handles inter-process communication in siloed environments. Microsoft has been informed of the vulnerability, but has not yet released an official patch as of June 18, 2025. Until a fix is deployed, experts recommend implementing stricter user permission boundaries and auditing silo configurations for anomalies. The technique depends on default settings and legitimate system behaviors, highlighting a broader need to reevaluate legacy Windows security features. W.A.T. News confirmed that the exploit requires local access, making it a post-compromise technique rather than a remote threat. This discovery adds to ongoing concerns about kernel-level exposures and delayed patch timelines in enterprise Windows deployments. In technology news, Meta's Threads platform has expanded its support for the open social web by introducing a dedicated Fediverse feed and profile search feature. This update enables users to search for and follow accounts hosted on decentralized platforms like Mastodon directly from within Threads. W.A.T. News verified that these Fediverse posts appear in a separate, reverse chronological feed, preserving content integrity and distinguishing them from Threads' algorithmically ranked content. The decision to separate feeds reflects Meta's approach to managing interoperability while maintaining platform moderation standards. Threads users must opt in to access this feature, ensuring content from the Fediverse is user-directed and not passively introduced. W.A.T. News also confirmed that this marks the most substantial step yet in Meta's gradual decentralization efforts, following earlier beta releases. The integration underscores a growing industry trend toward user empowerment and cross-platform visibility within social networking. A Michigan man named David Bartels has been sentenced to 5 years in federal prison after being convicted of possessing child pornography while employed as a military contractor at Guantanamo Bay. W.A.T. News verified that Bartels stored over 41,000 illicit images and videos on a Western Digital 5-terabyte hard drive, buried under folders labeled /NSFW, Nope, Don't Open, You Were Warned, Deeper. Despite using tools like TOR, Megasync, and Telegram, investigators easily uncovered his activity through forensic analysis of browser history, jump lists, registry data, and USB logs. Bartels confessed during questioning and admitted to purchasing the material using PayPal while stationed overseas. Authorities linked 1,500 of the media files to 285 known victims under age 12, prompting restitution claims from 19 survivors totaling $151,500, of which the court awarded $63,000. Prosecutors emphasized Bartels' technical ability and failure to seek treatment despite resources, calling it a willful pursuit of child abuse material. The case underscores how digital forensic tools and poor operational security often expose even technologically literate offenders. NASA's Juno mission recently completed a close flyby of Jupiter's moon Io, providing updated infrared readings on the planet's most volcanically active satellite. W.A.T. News verified that initial data suggests Io's heat output may be lower than prior models estimated, potentially altering long-standing theories about the moon's geothermal activity. These measurements were collected using Juno's Gyrum infrared spectrometer and build on earlier observations of lava lakes and volcanic plumes. Scientists attribute Io's intense volcanic behavior to tidal heating caused by gravitational forces from Jupiter and nearby moons. With over 400 active volcanoes, Io remains the most geologically dynamic body in the solar system. WAT News confirmed that the new data is still under analysis and may refine our understanding of magma flow, internal structure, and heat dissipation. These findings are expected to contribute significantly to planetary science and models of celestial geological evolution. In politics news, President Donald Trump has publicly stated his alignment with U.S. intelligence agencies regarding Iran's nuclear threat, but recent remarks contradict those assessments. In January, Trump referred to intelligence findings on Iran as passive and naive, despite the National Intelligence Director and the International Atomic Energy Agency confirming Iran is not currently pursuing a nuclear weapon. WAT News verified that multiple intelligence assessments, including a consensus view since 2018, maintain that Iran halted its nuclear weapons program in 2003 and has not resumed it. While the White House claims unity between the president and his security advisors, Trump's statements have repeatedly deviated from their documented evaluations. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard criticized Trump for undermining credible intelligence, asserting that his rhetoric misrepresents the actual threat landscape. The administration insists the president takes the Iran threat seriously, although Trump's prior comments continue to raise concerns over misinformation. This discrepancy highlights ongoing tension between political messaging and validated intelligence findings. Syed Nazir, a former U.S. military interpreter from Afghanistan, was detained by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement on June 11, 2025, after attending a mandatory immigration hearing in San Diego. WAT News verified that Nazir had been legally paroled into the United States in 2024 and held no criminal record in either the U.S. or Afghanistan. Despite possessing a pending asylum claim and a special immigrant visa application, Nazir was arrested under the vague justification of an improvidently issued case, a term immigration attorneys describe as non-standard and legally ambiguous. DHS officials have not provided a clear rationale for the detention, and ICE has declined to comment. Mazer is currently being held at the Otay Mesa Detention Center and may face deportation despite following all legal processes. Advocates warn that detaining U.S. wartime allies risks damaging U.S. credibility with future foreign partners. Reports indicate an increase in ICE courthouse arrests, coinciding with the administration's push to meet daily deportation targets. The upcoming gubernatorial race in Virginia between Republican Glenn Youngkin and Democrat Terry McAuliffe is viewed by analysts as a key measure of public opinion on Donald Trump's influence in national politics. Youngkin, a first-time candidate and former business executive, has navigated his campaign carefully to appeal to both pro-Trump and moderate Republican voters. McAuliffe, who previously served as governor, is seeking a non-consecutive second term with a focus on policy continuity and opposition to Trump-era politics. Polls suggest a tight race, though sample sizes and methodologies vary across surveys, limiting definitive forecasting. W.A.T. News verified that Trump has not formally endorsed either candidate, but remains a central figure in campaign messaging and voter mobilization strategies. The outcome is expected to inform future Republican strategies ahead of the 2026 midterm elections. This race underscores ongoing debates within the GOP over aligning with or distancing from Trump's political legacy. Let's turn it over to Jen for continuing coverage on today's headlines. Jen, it's yours.
Thank you, Heather. I'll take it from here. Let's begin with our next story. In business news, a growing class of digital entrepreneurs known as content creators is reshaping the global business landscape. These individuals earn income by producing and monetizing videos, photos, and commentary on platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. W.A.T. News verified that many creators transform personal brands into business ventures by promoting products, selling services, or licensing content directly to their audiences. This economic model has created viable career paths for thousands, with some creators generating 6- and 7-figure incomes through diversified revenue streams. However, creators also face challenges such as algorithm-driven visibility shifts and continuous audience engagement demands. Their success illustrates a broader shift in entrepreneurship driven by digital platforms and creator economies. This trend is altering traditional business paradigms by prioritizing personal influence and creative output over institutional backing. The United States Senate has passed the Stablecoin Genius Act, marking the first major federal legislative effort to regulate the stablecoin segment of the cryptocurrency market. Stablecoins are digital assets pegged to stable reserves like the United States dollar to minimize price volatility. W.A.T. News verified that the act introduces new oversight mechanisms for issuers, including disclosure requirements and reserve audits, designed to enhance consumer protection and system stability. The law enables federal regulators to oversee stablecoin operations, similarly to traditional securities, expanding jurisdictional authority. Proponents believe this framework will legitimize the sector and encourage responsible innovation, especially among financial technology firms. Critics remain cautious, noting that implementation details will determine whether the law fosters or stifles growth. The act represents a critical step toward integrating digital currency into established financial systems with clearer rules and protections. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg has invested in Scale AI, a startup specializing in data annotation services, critical for training artificial intelligence models. W.A.T. News verified that Scale AI, founded by Alexandra Wang, has played a central role in building large-scale labeled datasets for firms working on generative and predictive AI applications. The company's valuation now stands at approximately $3 billion, reflecting heightened interest in AI infrastructure tools. Zuckerberg's move aligns with Meta's broader push to integrate advanced AI into its future platforms, particularly in support of augmented and virtual reality development. This investment also signals a shift in Meta's strategic focus from purely social networking to foundational AI technologies. Scale AI's capabilities are expected to support more accurate, scalable, and explainable machine learning systems. The collaboration underscores growing competition among tech giants to dominate the AI development landscape through acquisitions and direct capital investment. In entertainment news, MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell has claimed a form of victory after a federal judge denied his motion to dismiss a defamation lawsuit filed by Dominion Voting Systems. W.A.T. News verified that the court's ruling allows the case to move forward into the discovery phase, but it does not constitute a legal win for Lindell. A lawsuit centers on Lindell's repeated and unsubstantiated claims that Dominion's voting machines were involved in manipulating the 2020 presidential election results. Dominion is seeking $3 billion in damages, asserting that Lindell's public accusations caused reputational and financial harm to the company. Legal experts note that the discovery phase could expose Lindell to additional legal risk if he fails to produce credible evidence supporting his claims. The court emphasized that advancing to discovery does not validate any allegations presented by the defendant. The litigation is ongoing, with no ruling yet on the merits of Dominion's defamation claims. Renowned children's musician Rafi Kavukian has released a new album titled Dog on the Floor, featuring 15 original songs. WAT News verified that one track pays tribute to Pete Seeger, the legendary folk singer and civil rights activist. Rafi, who has spent over 4 decades producing music that respects children as complete individuals, continues to avoid commercializing his content through product licensing. His best-known works include Baby Beluga and Banana Phone, both of which emphasize joy, empathy, and imagination. In addition to his music, Rafi is an author and founder of the Center for Child Honoring, promoting ethical approaches to childhood development. The new album reinforces his long-standing philosophy that children deserve music made with integrity and purpose. Dog on the Floor is currently available for purchase and streaming. Actress Halle Berry recently spoke candidly about her experience with menopause and its effects on her personal life during an appearance on the podcast Bad and Bushy. WAT News verified that Berry described feeling more self-assured and liberated after going through menopause, challenging outdated social taboos around aging and female sexuality. She noted that menopause helped her understand her body more deeply, which in turn strengthened her confidence and improved intimacy. Berry, who is 54 years old, emphasized the importance of open dialogue about menopause as a means of normalizing and demystifying the experience for other women. Her comments are part of a growing trend of public figures addressing topics often considered private or stigmatized. Experts in women's health have praised such discussions for encouraging awareness and destigmatization. Berry's remarks continue to resonate across media platforms for their honesty and relevance. In world news, WAT News verified that major financial institutions, including global banks and pension funds, continue to invest heavily in carbon-intensive industries, contributing significantly to climate change. A report by Share Action found that 58% of the 75 largest European asset management firms do not incorporate climate risk into their investment decisions. Further research by the Rainforest Action Network shows that 35 international banks have invested approximately $7 trillion in fossil fuel companies since the Paris Agreement was signed in 2015. These findings highlight a disconnect between stated climate goals and actual financial practices within the global banking sector. Individual investors can exert influence by demanding climate-conscious investment policies from their banks and pension fund managers. Environmentally responsible investing is increasingly seen as a way to reduce the financial sector's contribution to climate change. The data underscores the importance of aligning financial decisions with Sustainable Development Goals. In a groundbreaking advancement in bioengineering, researchers at Worcester Polytechnic Institute have successfully transformed spinach leaves into functioning heart tissue. W.A.T. News verified that the team removed plant cells from the leaves, leaving behind a vascular cellulose scaffold capable of supporting human tissue growth. This cellulose framework was infused with human heart cells, which eventually formed tissue capable of mimicking heart function. When fluid was pumped through the spinach's vein-like structures, the tissue began to pulse rhythmically, simulating cardiac motion. This innovative use of plant vasculature could offer new solutions for treating heart disease by creating biocompatible tissue grafts. Scientists emphasize that the method is still in experimental stages, but shows significant promise for future applications in regenerative medicine. The research demonstrates a creative and sustainable approach to solving complex biomedical challenges. A new public opinion poll from the Lowy Institute reveals shifting trust dynamics among Australians toward China and the United States. W.A.T. News verified that 42% of respondents now express trust in China, up from 23% in previous years, while trust in the United States has slightly decreased to 61%. The survey attributes the decline in U.S. favorability partly to political perceptions, with 69% of Australians stating that the American presidency influences their view of the country. Despite this, most respondents still view the United States as having superior military capabilities. However, China is now perceived as economically stronger by a growing share of Australians. The poll reflects a nuanced view of global power dynamics shaped by geopolitical events and leadership changes. Analysts suggest that the data highlights the complex balancing act in Australia's foreign policy outlook. That's your full briefing for today from W.A.T. News. Here's a quick recap of today's top stories. Today's broadcast highlights sweeping developments across politics, technology, and science, from Meta's Fediverse integration and NASA's findings on Io's volcanic activity, to the U.S. Senate's stablecoin legislation and emerging trends in AI investments. W.A.T. News verified key breakthroughs, including the use of spinach leaves in regenerative heart tissue, shifts in public trust between China and the United States, and ongoing security challenges such as Windows privilege escalation and cloud misconfigurations. As creators reshape modern entrepreneurship and world leaders navigate conflicting intelligence narratives, this episode underscores the critical role of facts in decoding today's global transformations.
W.A.T. News.
If you found this briefing helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss a headline. Until next time, stay sharp, stay safe, and stay curious.